I disagree. So she jumped straight off the bridge. My heart was on fire, and I was about to dive in to save her. But my daughter screamed at me, calling me a murderer, and slapped me so hard I blacked out. When I came to, my wife's ashes were already in an urn, and my daughter was threatening me, hand over every asset I owned, transfer her 100,000 a month, or she'd change her surname and wipe the he name off the map. I couldn't bear the thought of losing 2 family members back to back. So I caved. 7 years later, I was diagnosed with stomach cancer from sheer exhaustion. I begged my daughter to come home and see me one last time. The camera flickered on, and on the other end of the screen sat my wife, the woman who'd been dead for 7 years. She was perched on her first love's lap in a skimpy swimsuit, feeding him cherries mouth to mouth. When she saw me, she let out a cold, smug laugh. Yuan, you look old enough to be my grandpa now. Oh, and by the way, you still don't know, Su was never your daughter. I've been cheating on you the whole time. I never imagined I'd spend my entire life slaving away for another man's wife and child. I died on the spot, rage choking the last breath out of me. When I opened my eyes again, I was back on the bridge, the day my wife jumped. Yuan, you drove my mom to jump off a bridge. You're a monster. My daughter Su's shrill voice stabbed straight into my ears. I looked down, pressing a hand to my stomach. No pain, not a twinge, and suddenly, I understood. I'd been reborn. I was back in a healthy body, before the cancer, before everything fell apart. In my past life, my wife Su Yaowan had demanded 5 million to buy her mother an apartment. I didn't have it, so I asked her to wait. Who would have thought, when she saw me hesitate, she climbed the railing and jumped. She couldn't swim. The moment she hit the water, her slender figure was swallowed whole by the river. I tried to dive in after her, but my daughter slapped me unconscious. By the time I woke up, Su Yaowan had already been cremated. My daughter clutched her mother's urn and demanded I transfer every asset to her immediately, or she'd change her surname and erase he forever. I felt guilty about my wife. I let her have her way. And for the next 7 years, I paid that monthly 100,000. I drank myself to stomach bleeding at business dinners. I maxed out credit cards, took out loans, got on my knees and begged every friend I had, anything to make sure the money was never late. To save money, I'd double over in agony from stomach pain but refused to spend 2 yuan on a single painkiller. I just gritted my teeth and endured. 7 years of that. Then came the cancer diagnosis. I asked to see my daughter one last time before I died. But what I never expected, the moment she heard I was dying, the person on the other end of the video call swapped to Su Yaowan. She was in a sexy swimsuit, sitting on her first love's lap, feeding him cherries mouth to mouth. When she saw me, she curled her lip in disgust. Is making money really that hard? Yuan, you look old enough to be my grandpa. But thanks, I guess. If you hadn't killed yourself working to support us, we wouldn't be living so comfortably. Oh, and Yuan, you still don't know, Su was never your daughter. I've been cheating on you this whole time. I'd broken my back for those 2 women my entire life. And only at death's door did I learn I'd been building a home for someone else. I coughed up blood in pure fury. I died that very night. Now, everything is starting over. And this time, no one is going to fake their death and slip away right under my nose. They want to die so badly, then let them actually die. Yuan, I've slept beside you for all these years, surely that counts for something, doesn't it? I only asked you to buy my mother an apartment, and you can't even do that. What good are you? Su Yaowan sat astride the bridge railing, her eyes fixed on me with venomous hatred, as if she were talking about a thumbtack, not a house. I looked at her, tears streaming down my face, and begged, wife, I never said no, just give me time to figure something out. But Su Yaowan rolled her eyes so hard they nearly disappeared and spat. Yuan, you're nothing but a coward. You can't even fulfill your own wife's wishes. What kind of man does that make you? And with that, she hurled herself off the bridge. I lunged forward to check on her, but Su, just like in my past life, swung a vicious slap at my face. Last time, that slap knocked me out cold. But I'm a grown man, strong and sturdy. There's no way a girl like her could knock me unconscious with raw force. Which means, she had to have something on her hand. Some kind of sedative. I shot my hand up and caught her wrist mid-swing. White powder hidden under her manicured nails scattered into the air, drifting toward my nose. I held my breath just in time. In that instant, I knew, this was the exact thing that had kept me from attending my wife's funeral in my past life. I twisted Hisu's wrist and made her slap herself. She inhaled a mouthful of the powder before she could react, crumpled to the ground, and lay there unconscious for a full 2 minutes before she lifted her head, staring at me in shock. Hisuan, you hit me. She eats my food, drinks my water, spends my money, and she can't even call me dad. I thought about everything she'd put me through, and I slapped her again, while my words stayed perfectly righteous. Hisu, your mother just jumped off a bridge, and you're out here throwing a tantrum. I'm showing you mercy by not beating you senseless. I'd always spoiled Hisu rotten. Seeing me flip like this, her face went white as a sheet. She lay there on the ground, too stunned to get up. And I, right in front of her, deliberately made a phone call. Secretary Wang, my wife just jumped into the river. I want checkpoints set up along both banks immediately. I want her alive, or I want her body. Either way, I'm finding her. Hisu hadn't believed I could stay calm after Su Yaowan, who couldn't swim, threw herself into the water. The man who loved her so desperately. But now, I was taking control of everything, methodically, calmly. She was terrified I'd ruin her mother's fake death and wreck their comfortable little life abroad. Her eyes darted around, and in no time, she'd cooked up a scheme. Before long, my mother-in-law showed up on the scene, dripping in gold and jewelry. The moment she appeared, she lunged at me, clawing at my face with her bare hands. Hisuan, when you proposed to Susu, what did you promise me? You said you'd take care of her for life. That's the only reason I let her marry you. And now you've driven her to her death. Give me back my daughter. Give me back every cent I spent on her. The stench of chives and eggs on her breath made me want to gag. But I held it in. I just shoved her aside with a pained expression and roared in grief. Mom, Susu isn't dead. I'm trying to save her, don't get in my way. And with that, I personally directed the search and rescue team, setting up checkpoints every 5 meters along the riverbank and dispatching dozens of search boats to sweep the water again and again. My wife Su Yaowan was famously devoted to her family. Every time my paycheck landed, she'd take most of it and funnel it straight to her parents. So much so that when my mother-in-law saw the fleet of boats I had brought, her sobbing stopped dead in its tracks. Hisuan, you have money to burn, is that it? Su Yaowan jumped off that bridge so long ago. She's long dead by now. You have money to hire a search and rescue team, but where's my cut? Where's my share of filial piety? Su Yaowan's mother was utterly money-obsessed. Every single time we met, she would drum up some excuse or another to squeeze money out of me. And now, seeing me hire all these people to dredge the river for Su Yaowan, she was beside herself with grief for her wallet, not her daughter. She clawed and bit at the rescue workers, physically trying to block them from going into the water. Stop! All of you, stop right now. I'm Su Yaowan's mother, and I'm telling you she's dead. Don't you dare pretend to fish around out there and try to swindle us out of our money. The rescue team couldn't do a thing with her shrieking in their ears. Standing off to the side, Hisu watched the whole scene unfold, and a sly smile of triumph crept across her face. She had planted a waterproof tracking device on Su Yaowan, and she knew her mother was hiding right now behind one of the bridge pillars, waiting for the right moment to slip ashore. With this many eyes around, the moment she surfaced, someone was bound to spot her. But if her grandmother could yell at me and the rescue team until we all packed up and left, then their little fake death scheme would come off without a hitch. The more Hisu thought about it, the deeper the smile in her eyes grew. But it didn't last long, because I climbed into a rescue boat myself, and took it out onto the river. When she saw my boat steering closer and closer to where Su Yaowan was hiding, Hisu's eyes went bloodshot with panic. She paced back and forth on the shore, frantic. Hisuan, what are you doing? Get back here. You don't even know how to rescue anyone. What are you playing at? She was pretending to be concerned for me, hoping that kind of talk would make me turn back. But I just stood at the bow of the boat, and let out a heartbroken sigh. Don't worry about me, sweetheart. I'll be careful. When my mother-in-law saw that she hadn't managed to talk me down, she grabbed Hisu by the hair and slapped her clean across the face. You useless little wretch. What are you standing there gawking for? Your mother is dead. If something happens to your father too, you'll be an orphan. And if you're an orphan, who's going to give you money to spend? Hisu's cheek was red and swollen from the slap, and she could see that my boat was about to reach the exact spot where Su Yarwan's tracker was pinging. She gritted her teeth, made up her mind, and dropped straight to her knees on the shore. "Dad, please come back. I'm begging you. Please come back. I've already lost my mother. I can't lose you too." Su wailed pitifully, tears and snot running down her face in streaks. The red mark of the slap was still clearly visible on her cheek. If this had been my past life, seeing her like this, I would have rather carved a piece of flesh out of my own body than let her suffer a single moment of sadness. But now, I just wiped at my eyes with the back of my hand, feigning tears, and kept following the direction marked on the boat's tracker. The positioning device Su Yarwan had bought was child's play. The GPS detector on the rescue boat could track her every movement. Seeing my boat getting closer and closer, Su Yarwan didn't dare keep her head above the water to breathe anymore. She took a deep breath, and sank beneath the surface. She was praying that I would search the area, find nothing, and leave. But, while she was down there waiting in growing panic, I drove the boat directly over the spot where she was hiding. "Yarwan, where are you?" I screamed at the top of my lungs. The very picture of a desperate husband who had just lost his wife. But every time Su Yarwan tried to surface for air, I would, as if by pure accident, position my boat directly above her head, casting a shadow over her entire body, making it impossible for her to take a single breath. On the shore, Su watched this unfold, her eyes practically bulging out of her skull, but she couldn't call out that Su Yarwan was right under my boat, and she couldn't physically drag me back to shore. She racked her brain, and finally, she pulled out her phone and called Zheng Yuanlin. "Uncle Zheng, come quick. My mom is about to be killed by He Ziyuan," she screamed into the phone. Zheng Yuanlin was my best friend from university. After I married Su Yarwan, I had made a point of introducing them to each other. At the time, they had acted so stiff and formal around one another that I never suspected a thing. But it wasn't until after I died that I learned Zheng Yuanlin was Su Yarwan's first love. The only reason Su Yarwan married me at all was out of spite. She was angry at Zheng Yuanlin. Zheng Yuanlin had been waiting nearby all along, ready to pick Su Yarwan up. When he got Su's desperate call, he was on my boat within 2 minutes. He Ziyuan. Driving back and forth across the river like this is way too dangerous. Come back and be with Su, she's terrified. As he spoke, he started steering the boat back toward the shore. His face was the very picture of concern, the kind of look you can't argue with. But I stared at him for a long moment, then clenched my fist and drove it straight into his face. "Zheng Yuanlin, the person in that water is my wife, not yours. Easy for you to talk. Get the hell off my boat. Stop getting in my way." Zheng Yuanlin wasn't expecting it. The blow sent him stumbling backward, and he crashed to the deck, his eye socket already bruising. "He Ziyuan, do you know something?" He looked at me with suspicion, his gaze venomous, like he wanted to skin me alive. My heart jumped, but I kept the grief plastered across my face. "Old Zheng, my wife is in trouble. I don't have time for your nonsense. If you're not going to help, then just go home." I turned away after saying that, and kept shouting Su Yarwan's name at the water. Zheng Yuanlin stared at me suspiciously for a long moment, and only when he was satisfied that I was genuinely just panicking did his expression soften slightly. He picked himself up off the deck, walked over to me, and put a hand on my shoulder with a heavy sigh. "Old He, we've been searching for this long and nothing's come up. Your wife is probably already gone. You should just mourn." I had been circling directly above Su Yarwan's head for a full 10 minutes. At this point, she really was about to be gone. Only the one who should be mourning was him, not me. I sobbed and let Zheng Yuanlin lead me back to the shore. The rescue workers, seeing that I had come up empty-handed, all wore looks of pity. Only Zheng Yuanlin and Su exchanged a glance, and let out a quiet breath of relief. By now, the sky had gone completely dark. They looked at the calm surface of the river, then at my grief-stricken face, and spoke up at the same time to console me. "Old He, it's late and the cold is setting in. Why don't you take the kid home? I'll stay here and keep an eye on things for you. The moment there's any news about your wife, I'll call you right away." Su nodded eagerly at that. "Dad, Uncle Zheng is right. Let's go home. Mom loved looking pretty so much. She wouldn't want you to see her in a bad state. Let's just let Uncle Zheng handle everything from here." They were so desperate to get me away from this place so they could haul Su Yarwan out of the water. So desperate. In fact, that neither of them noticed a flash of red floating on the surface in the middle of the river, swaying gently with the current. And if Su Yaowan had still been conscious, she never would have let that hem of her dress float up above the water. I remained unmoved, and He Su and Jing Yuanlin kept going back and forth, pleading with me without pause. But I just kept my head bowed, terrified that they might catch the cold sneer curling at the corner of my lips. As the seconds ticked by, Jing Yuanlin grew increasingly anxious, and just as he forcefully pulled me toward the car, the sharp wail of police sirens surrounded the riverbank. Several officers hurried over to me, confirming the situation. "Mr. He, were you the one who called the police?" The moment they saw the police and the ambulance, He Su and Jing Yuanlin's faces went white as sheets. "Dad, how could you call the police?" She was terrified that Su Yaowan's fake death would be exposed. At the sight of the officers and medical personnel, her entire body trembled uncontrollably, and while she was interrogating me, a harsh shout came from the shore. "There! Pull her up now!" He Su turned at the sound and finally caught sight of that red figure floating on the river's surface. "Mom!" When Su Yaowan was dragged out of the water, her face was deathly pale, her lips tinged blue, her once fair and slender limbs hung limp like wet noodles, soft and lifeless, with not a trace of vitality left. He Su and Jing Yuanlin were scared half to death by the sight, collapsing over the stretcher, screaming her name over and over. Only I watched it all with cold detachment, using every ounce of strength I had to keep from laughing out loud. In my past life, after I died, my soul had been trapped beside Su Yaowan. I watched her take my money every month and show up at the beauty salon like clockwork. I watched her and Jing Yuanlin carry on without a shred of shame, tangled together like two stray dogs in heat, endlessly indulging themselves. Because of my support, Su Yaowan kept her figure svelte, her waist slender, her face youthful like a maiden's, while her body carried all the ripe allure of a mature woman. Jing Yuanlin was constantly seduced by her, pinning her beneath him at all hours. "Su, isn't your man impressive? Aren't I way better than that dead husband of yours?" Jing Yuanlin was panting heavily, but he still had to compare himself to me. He asked Su Yaowan, "You were married to him for so many years, did he ever satisfy you?" And Su Yaowan would answer in that coquettish voice of hers, "That's ancient history now. Why are you being so jealous? Of course he's not as good as you. I've been thinking about you the whole time. Do you know why He Su is your child? Because every time I was with him, I took birth control pills. I was never going to give him a child. They used my money to buy mansions and luxury cars, living it up without a care in the world. Worse still, in the second year after faking her death, Su Yaowan gave Jing Yuanlin another son. They named the boy Jing Kaha. And I was that he. They deceived my feelings, drained my life, and then used their son's name to curse me over and over again. How could I not hate them?" Just as I was glaring daggers at Su Yaowan, her fingers suddenly twitched. The doctors brought in by the ambulance were performing CPR, trying to push the water out of her lungs. But the moment Su Yaowan's finger moved, He Su and Jing Yuanlin immediately flew into a rage. He Su shoved the doctor off Su Yaowan with all her strength, screaming, "You pervert! My mom is dead, and you're still groping her. What's your name? I'm reporting you." Jing Yuanlin chimed in as well. "Young man, the dead deserve respect. If you keep taking liberties with a corpse, I'll make sure you regret it." That heavy accusation slammed down, and the male doctor performing CPR on Su Yaowan panicked instantly. He tried to explain, "This is CPR, I'm trying to save her." He Su and Jing Yuanlin rolled their eyes. "Save her? What does a green kid like you know about saving anyone? I can see you just want to cop a feel." They were completely unreasonable, and the medical staff, shouted at and berated, didn't dare come near. The police had no choice but to step in and mediate. But the moment an officer opened his mouth, He Su let out a shriek and lunged at him, clawing and tearing. "If you hadn't shown up so late, would my mom be dead? What right do you have to talk now?" He Su's completely irrational behavior gave everyone a headache. They all assumed she was acting out because she'd just lost her mother. But only I knew the truth. He Su and Jing Yuanlin were obstructing the rescue because they'd taken Su Yaowan's twitching finger as a signal. They still thought she was playing along with their fake death scheme. Amid their frantic, hysterical racket, the golden 5 minutes for saving a drowning victim slipped away without anyone noticing. Su Yaowan's body turned stark white, and white foam bubbled from her mouth and nose. She was well and truly dead. Once I confirmed that, I shoved Hisu and Jing Yuanlin aside and looked at the doctors with desperate pleading. I'm so sorry. Truly sorry, they don't understand medicine. They didn't mean to offend you. I'm begging you, please save my wife. When I saw they were unmoved, I dropped to my knees with a thud in front of the doctors. Please, I beg you, save my wife. My words were delivered with utmost sincerity. To anyone watching, it looked like nothing but deep devotion to my wife. Jing Yuanlin was the one making a scene and delaying treatment. I was the one sincerely begging, even kneeling to the doctors for my wife's sake. I was certain that with this scene, no matter what happened later, Su Yarwan's death could never be blamed on me. The doctors were moved by my sincerity and were about to resume their efforts to save Su Yarwan. But Jing Yuanlin suddenly waved toward the distance. Old he, don't beg those hacks. This is my friend Dr. Chen, he's very professional. Let him treat your wife. As he spoke, Jing Yuanlin exchanged a knowing glance with Dr. Chen. I knew that Dr. Chen was one of Hisu and Jing Yuanlin's people. Even if Su Yarwan were alive, he'd help them declare her dead. So I shook my head vigorously and shouted, no, it'll be too late. But even as the words left my mouth, when Hisu and Jing Yuanlin each grabbed one end of the stretcher and carried her toward Dr. Chen, I didn't stop them, because I really, truly wanted to see it. I wanted to see their faces twist in frantic horror when they learned that Su Yarwan was dead, and that she was dead because of them. Soon, Su Yarwan was taken to Dr. Chen's hospital. I was forced to follow along, with no other choice. Outside the operating room, Hisu, thinking everything was settled, clutched her stomach and whined sweetly. Uncle Zheng, I'm so hungry. Can you go downstairs and buy me a milk tea? Jing Yuanlin was just about to agree when the operating room doors swung open. Dr. Chen walked out, his eyes darting away. He met the expectant gazes of Hisu and Jing Yuanlin. His lips trembled, and he said, she is dead. Dead? How is that possible? Two voices rang out at the same time, but there was not a shred of regret in them, only thick, unmistakable smugness. Their plan had worked. The moment that realization hit, Hisu nearly jumped for joy, aching to high-five Jing Yuanlin on the spot, but she forced herself to calm down in an instant, whipping her head toward me with fury blazing in her eyes, and delivered the lines she had rehearsed long ago. Yuan, you're a murderer. If you hadn't insisted on doubting everything, my mom would never have died. Yuan, I will never forgive you for this. I hate you. At the same time, Jing Yuanlin pulled Dr. Chen aside to a corner, grinning from ear to ear as he stuffed a red envelope into the doctor's hands. Thanks, man. I'll buy you dinner sometime. He pushed the money forward, but Dr. Chen didn't take it. Instead, he just stood there, staring at Jing Yuanlin with a look that said he had something stuck in his throat. Jing Yuanlin's skin crawled under that gaze. His smile faltered, irritation creeping in. What? You think it's not enough? No. Dr. Chen's face twisted, caught somewhere between a grimace and a sob, his lips twitching as if the words themselves were fighting to get out. Can't you understand what I'm saying? I said she's dead. She really died. Yeah, that's what I wanted you to say, she's dead. Jing Yuanlin's words died halfway out of his mouth as the meaning finally slammed into him. His eyes shot wide with terror, snapping toward the operating room. Then, in a flash, he grabbed Hisu by the collar and hurled her to the floor, right in front of Su Yarwan's corpse. Stop your damn act. Your mom is really dead. Hisu's face drained to a bloodless white as she stared at the white sheet draped over Su Yarwan's body. Her hands trembled violently as she reached out to feel for a heartbeat. Nothing. The silence was so deep it made her chest ache with dread. Ah! The cold touch of death sent Hisu scrambling backward in terror, and in her panic, her hand snagged the sheet, yanking it away. The moment Su Yarwan's lifeless, bloodless face hit the air, Hisu's pants went wet on the spot. A sharp, sour stench spread around her as she lost control of her bladder, her mouth babbling on repeat. Impossible. How could she be dead? We planned everything so perfectly. She was so frantic she didn't even know what she was saying. But before she could pull herself together, I lunged at her like a vengeful ghost and clamped my hands around her throat. What plan? Hisu, do you even realize what you've done? You killed your own mother. She was so good to you, why would you do this? Hisu's face flushed crimson as I squeezed, choking her until she couldn't make a sound. I stared down at her with cold, detached eyes. savoring the dark satisfaction coiling in my chest. I only let go when she was on the verge of passing out, then I pulled back my fist and drove it into her face with everything I had. The blow snapped her head to the side, and 2 teeth flew out of her mouth. Blood flooded her lips as she collapsed onto the floor like a dead dog, gasping for air that wouldn't come. Jing Yuanlin couldn't watch anymore. He lunged at me, ready to hit back, but he never even got close. I kicked him square in the chest, sending him crashing to the ground, then grabbed a vase from the table and raised it high, bringing it down with brutal force between his legs. "This is all your fault. My wife could have lived." Jing Yuanlin screamed in agony, writhing on the floor like a worm, his body twisting in pain. But the police who had rushed in didn't stop me, because everyone had seen it. When Su Yaowan still had a chance to live, Jing Yuanlin and Su had dragged the doctor off her. They were the ones. They had caused her death. That night, both Su and Jing Yuanlin were admitted to the hospital with severe injuries. My mother-in-law, on the other hand, heard the news that Su Yaowan had truly died, and her face stretched long with displeasure. She came to find me, her voice dripping with complaint. "He Ziyuan, didn't I tell you from the very beginning? Su Yaowan was already dead. Look at you, hiring a search team, bringing in doctors, calling the police, spending all that money on her. Did any of it help? If you ask me, you should just give that money to me. I only have one daughter, Su Yaowan. Now that she's gone, who's going to take care of me in my old age?" Her eyes gleamed with petty calculation, not a single ounce of grief for her dead daughter. So she, just like the old me from my past life, was one of the people Su Yaowan had been trying to escape. Su Yaowan had wanted a good life, one that didn't include us. But she was dead now, and I wasn't about to let anyone have what they wanted. "Mom." I looked at her with pain etched across my face, my voice cracking as I spoke. "Mom, Su Yaowan didn't have to die. If Jing Yuanlin hadn't interfered, she would have come home with me by now. If you want money, go ask Jing Yuanlin for it. I'm going to put every cent I have into Su Yaowan's case. I'm going to make that murderer pay for what he did." My mother-in-law saw the stubborn, unyielding look in my eyes and rolled hers so hard they nearly stuck. Without another word, she stormed straight into Jing Yuanlin's hospital room. She carried a basin of cold water and, with a single splash, dumped it all over him. Jing Yuanlin's wounds were still raw and bloody. The shock of the water hit him like fire, and he nearly blacked out from the pain. But my mother-in-law gave him no mercy. She planted herself beside his bed and wailed at the top of her lungs. "Murderer! You murderer! Give me back my daughter! Give her back!" I watched the show with quiet amusement, savoring the constipated agony twisting Jing Yuanling's face. Then, suddenly, I looked up. There, floating in midair, was Su Yaowan's soul. Just like the old me from my past life, Su Yaowan was dead, but her spirit refused to fade, held together by the weight of her unfinished grievances. Seeing Jing Yuanlin suffer, her beautiful face twisted with rage, she hurled herself at him, desperate to reach him. But every time she got close, some unseen force yanked her back to my side. She tried again and again, until finally she gave up, cursing in fury. I watched it all with cold eyes, and it felt good. I walked home with a light step, took a long, hot shower, and cracked open a cold beer. In my past life, I had slaved away for Su Yaowan and her daughter my whole life, earning money year after year, but I never got to enjoy a single thing myself. This life, I wasn't going to be that stupid again. I lay back on the big bed and slept like a log. The next morning, the first thing I saw when I opened my eyes was Su Yaowan's red, furious face. "He Ziyuan, aren't you sad that I'm dead? How can you sleep at all?" She couldn't understand it. The man who loved her so much, how could he be so calm after her death? I kept pretending I couldn't see her. Then I posted a status update on my moments. "First day without my wife. I miss her. Honey, don't be afraid down there. I swear I'll make everyone who hurt you pay." The moment that post went up, my feed exploded. Jing Yuanling's boss even messaged me directly. "What happened?" I told him the whole story, my voice heavy with grief. He replied quickly, promising to fire Jing Yuanlin on the spot. After all, the only reason Jing Yuanlin had gotten into that company in the first place was because of his connection to me. Now that he'd crossed me, there was no reason to keep him around. Within hours, Jing Yuanlin was ruthlessly let go. He was still in the hospital when the news hit him. His eyes rolled back, and he passed out on the spot from sheer fury. His job was gone. And Su Yarwan's mother was still wailing at his door, demanding money. Jing Yuanlin was at his wit's end, so much so that he came straight to my house to demand an explanation. Old he, I came over that day to help you. Your wife died because she was unlucky. You can't blame me for that. If everyone who does a good deed gets punished for it, then wouldn't the world be full of nothing but bad people? Seeing that I remained silent, Jing Yuanlin gave my shoulder a hearty pat, like we were old brothers, and continued, Old he, with your credentials, finding another woman isn't hard. Don't let one wife ruin the brotherhood between us. Su Yarwan never expected Jing Yuanlin to say something like that. Her eyes went wide as saucers. In disbelief, she murmured, Unlucky, find another woman. She couldn't believe how heartless Jing Yuanlin was being. She had died for the sake of their future together. How could Jing Yuanlin not feel her pain? How could he dismiss her death so easily? Su Yarwan couldn't wrap her head around it. The agony on her face was unmistakable. But before she could react to any of this, Su stepped forward. He Ziyuan, you'd better get Uncle Zheng reinstated to his position right now. Otherwise, I won't accept you as my dad anymore. My mom died because of your paranoid suspicions. What does Uncle Zheng have to do with it? Stop making a scene. Su jutted out her chin, naively believing that now that Su Yarwan was dead, I would dote on her twice as much and give her everything she wanted. That day at the hospital was just a moment of anger, she thought. But just as the words left her mouth, the sales clerk from the second-hand luxury goods store walked in. Mr. He. What items would you like to sell? I led her to Su's bedroom, pointed at the 3 massive wardrobes stuffed to the brim and the dozens of jewelry boxes, and smiled faintly. All of it. Then I turned and pointed at Su, including everything she's wearing right now. Su was terrified. She blocked the bedroom door and refused to let anyone in. But I slapped her straight across the face and shoved her aside. Su, I spoiled you rotten in the past. That's why you're so clueless. You don't even know what CPR is. Now that your mother is dead, I'm going to straighten out your attitude properly. After my slap, Su's face swelled up like a pig's head. Jing Yuanlin, however, remained spineless, cowering on the sidelines and begging me to let him off the hook. I ordered the security guards to throw him out. Seeing this, Su scrambled to block their way. Ziyuan, you think you're so tough? What right do you have to bully people like this? I turned my back and refused to look at her. In her fury, Su blurted out without thinking. Ziyuan, you've never been good to me anyway. I've been sick of you for a long time. Let me tell you a secret, you're not even my real father. Uncle Zheng is my biological dad. My mom was cheating on you the whole time. The moment those words left her mouth, the air froze solid. The security guards and the store clerk all turned to look at me at the same time. And I, true to expectations, wore the expression of a man shattered beyond repair. Impossible. Su could never betray me. You're lying. Get out. Get the hell out. I roared like a madman. But Su just smiled smugly and linked her arm through Jing Yuanlin's. Fine. I'll leave. Ziyuan, I never wanted you as my dad anyway. With that, she strutted out the door in grand style. Su had been raised by me to be naive. She thought that if I, a man who wasn't even her biological father, was willing to give so much for her, then Jing Yuanlin, her real father, would naturally treat her even better. But reality slapped her in the face soon enough. Because of my orders, Jing Yuanlin was blacklisted across the entire industry. Su Yarwan's mother came and squeezed another huge sum of money out of him. Jing Yuanlin was so broke he could barely keep himself alive. And the sight of Su only irritated him. If Su had been sensible and done some housework for him, it might have been tolerable. But Su slept until the afternoon every single day. The moment she woke up, she demanded to eat at fancy restaurants. After eating, she needed new dresses, new makeup, milk tea, snacks, desserts. Day after day of this. And within no time at all, Jing Yuanlin snapped. He ordered Su to go out and get a job. Su had been a little princess for over a decade. There was no way she was going to work a job and take orders from people. The two of them exploded into a massive fight. By the end of it, Jing Yuanlin grabbed a cleaver and swung it at Su. You have the nerve to be picky. If it weren't for your stupid ideas, would your mother be dead? Would I have lost my job? If you want the good life, then go back to Ziyuan. But under my roof, you work. Su's arm was slashed open. the bone exposed beneath the gash. She was shaking with terror. She crawled and scrambled her way back to me. But waiting for her this time wasn't my forgiving embrace, it was a pair of handcuffs. I had contacted lawyers and filed a lawsuit against Hisu and Jing Yuanlin for intentional murder. When the police came to search the house for evidence, they found half a pack of white powder in Hisu's bedroom. She had bought a band-controlled substance to knock me out. 50 grams was more than enough to put her away for life. After Hisu was imprisoned, she insisted on seeing me. In my past life, she had been raised by me, yet she never once appreciated the kindness I showed her. Like an ungrateful snake, she had joined forces with others to drive me to my death. In this life, our positions were reversed. I was the winner, and all she could do was cry on the other side of the glass. Through the partition, I looked at Hisu's haggard face and felt a joy that came from the very depths of my soul. Su Yaowan, however, had fire in her eyes. She looked like she wanted to tear me apart on the spot. He Ziyuan, how could you bear to do this to her? She's a girl you watched grow up. The neighbor's dog was also something I watched grow up. Did that mean I had to clean up its shit too? I shot Su Yaowan a look of contempt. Then I asked Hisu coldly, what do you want? Hisu had completely shed her former arrogance. She apologized with all the humility she could muster. Dad, I know I was wrong. I really know I was wrong. Everything before was me being immature. But I've learned my lesson now. Please save me. If you're willing to get me out of here, I'll do anything for you once I'm free. Hisu looked at me with pleading eyes. When she saw that I hadn't agreed immediately, she dropped to her knees right there and started kowtowing repeatedly. She wanted to move me. She wanted me to pull strings for her, to find her a lawyer, to get her out of prison as fast as possible. So she slammed her forehead into the floor again and again, each impact producing a dull, heavy thud. Her skin quickly turned purple and bruised, then began to bleed. Seeing this, Su Yaowan's soul trembled with heartache. But I only felt satisfaction. Good deeds are rewarded with good. Evil deeds are repaid with evil. Hisu's retribution had arrived. After Hisu had kowtowed a full 100 times, only then did I call out to her, my voice cold and steady. Zheng Su. Hearing me address her by that name, Hisu's movements froze mid-motion. She could feel it, the dread of her own ending creeping up her spine. And I, in turn, simply handed back every word she had once thrown at me, word for word, unchanged. I was never your father. Jing Yuanlin is your real father. Your mother was cheating on me long before you were born. Why should I raise a bastard child that isn't mine? The person you should be begging isn't me, it's your mother. If she hadn't been so careless, you wouldn't have to live this life at all. Not long after that, word spread through the prison that Hisu had slit her own artery in a suicide attempt. But luck was on her side, the doctors managed to bring her back. When someone asked her why she did it, Hisu gave only one answer. She said, the blood running through my veins is the blood of a bastard. I find it filthy. The news of Hisu's suicide drove Su Yaowan to the brink of madness. Day after day, she either raged at home, cursing Hisu for lacking spine, or accused me of brainwashing her daughter and driving a wedge between mother and child. But before she could exhaust her fury, her beloved Jing Yuanlin ran into trouble of his own. Jing Yuanlin had repeatedly obstructed the doctors while they were trying to save a patient. And because of his interference, Su Yaowan, the patient, died when she could have lived. The doctors and nurses on duty that day were all my witnesses. Jing Yuanlin was sentenced to 5 years in prison. If he had just kept his head down and endured, he might have walked out alive. But I had already stripped him of his manhood, rendered him a eunuch who could no longer function. The moment he stepped into prison, the deviants who craved that sort of prey took notice. For 6 months, Jing Yuanlin was tormented by those degenerates. Every single day was worse than death. In the end, he died in a filthy, neglected corner of the prison bathroom. After Jing Yuanlin's death, even Su Yaowan's soul seemed to dim, losing its luster. She finally understood. Jing Yuanlin was nothing but a coward, a roach I could crush with a single squeeze until there was nothing left. She couldn't believe she had ever set her sights on something like him, and worse, that she had betrayed me for his sake. She grew quiet. She would always linger in the corners of the room, gazing at me with longing and regret. She regretted everything, so much so that, whenever I slept, she would secretly curl her soul into my arms. I pretended not to notice. But one day, without warning, I brought another woman home. Su Yaowan had delicate features and a figure that turned heads. But But the woman I brought back shared not a single resemblance to her. She radiated pure, untainted innocence from head to toe. The moment Su Yaowan saw me kiss her, she lost her mind. No, no, He Ziyuan, how could you kiss her? He Ziyuan, make her leave. This is our home. She went berserk, hurling herself at us again and again, trying desperately to use her soul to tear us apart. But I just tumbled into bed with the woman, tangled up in passion. We carried on until dawn broke, and only then did I wrap my arms around her and drift off to sleep, satisfied. Su Yaowan couldn't look away, couldn't block it out. Even with her eyes squeezed shut, the sounds reached her ears. Within moments, she shattered. She curled up in the corner, unable to believe that the man who loved her so deeply had already found someone new. So quickly. I cast a lazy glance her way, thinking to myself that she hadn't even suffered a tenth of what I endured in my past life. So I curled my lips into a cruel smile and spoke the first words I'd said to her in all this time. That day, I did it on purpose. Su Yaowan froze for a second, then realized I was talking to her. She pounced forward, ecstatic. You can see me. Of course. And it's not just now, I saw you that day in the river too. The tracker Hisu gave you, it did me a world of good. Su Yaowan processed this for a heartbeat, then it all clicked. You planned to kill me all along. Why? Don't you love me anymore? After death, Su Yaowan had seen people for what they truly were. Her mother, she only wanted to bleed her dry for money, never caring whether she lived or died. Hisu, the child she had fought to bring into this world, grieved for her for a little while, then went right back to shopping and spending. And Zheng Yuanlin, he had said to her face that she was cursed with a short life. Su Yaowan looked at all of them and felt nothing but pity for herself. Her only hope was that I would grieve for her. But now, I was telling her that I was the one who killed her. Her face twisted in agony. She shook her head over and over, utterly unable to accept the truth that no one in this world had ever loved her. Watching her fall apart, I pulled the woman beside me close, pressed a kiss to her rosy lips, and said with clear, refreshed satisfaction, Su Yaowan, it's a terrible feeling, isn't it? Trapped between life and death, with no way out either way. I suggest you get used to it soon. After all, you've got plenty more days like this ahead of you. The end.